Welcome back to Telltale Books. I'm going to start a new series of complete works of an author, one of my favorite authors. We have reviewed one of his books already, Ringworld, and so that author is Larry Niven. He's been one of my favorites since the very beginning that I was reading. I read one of his stories in an anthology by Isaac Asimov, and loved it so much I had to find more. And so now I want to go back and reread Larry Niven from the beginning, from his first published piece, and try to read everything I can get my hands on, all the way up to the most recent. And he is still writing. He just published a story in Analog in December, which I'm looking forward to reading. So this is number one, and his first published story is called The Coldest Place. It's part of his Known Space series, and it was first published in If magazine in December of 1964. So it's almost as old as I am. Given time to edit, print, distribute, it's probably a little older than I am. The story here is extremely simple. You have these two explorers in a spaceship. They're from Earth. They're on the planet Mercury. And they see something. They're on the night side, of course, where it's thought to be extremely cold, while because Mercury always keeps one face to the sun and the other side of the planet is always away from the sun. It was long thought that the other side of the planet would be extremely cold. And my memory's failing me whether or not that's still true or not. But at the time this story was written, that was the belief with Mercury, was that the night side of Mercury would be just ridiculously cold. That's why it's titled The Coldest Place. But they see something moving, and they go to investigate it. They get a sample of it, and they're going to take it back to Earth and find out what it is. It might be life, or it might just be I forget what it was. There was a certain chemical reaction that was described that could mimic life. And I'm totally spoiling it because that's really all there is to the story. They leave Mercury. They don't know if it's alive or not. Nothing else happens. So to talk about this story, it's okay. But Larry Niven, in his introduction to Tales of Known Space, which is where you'll find the story, he makes a statement that he really didn't want to include it because he felt it was the worst thing he had written. He felt it wasn't any good. And he had thoughts about rewriting the story, but then just kind of decided against it. And I'm kind of glad he has just left it alone and included it, because that's my point in doing these read everything from the first published pieces, to see how these authors develop. You kind of expect their first story is not going to be that great. Now, we have some exceptions like Stanley Weinbaum or Van Vogt, Jack Williamson, but most writers, you kind of expect their first story out of the gate to be with most writers, you kind of expect their first story out of the gate to be kind of bad. The Coldest Place, then, is a very simple story that has some nice ideas, and it is kind of a nice read. It's extremely short, so it doesn't take you very long at all. And that's really all you can say about it. I think as far as who I would recommend this to, it would be only those people who really want to be completists like I do and read it all. and not skip anything. For everybody else, you're just not going to get much here. There's not much to be gotten from this story, so you could skip it and never feel like you missed out on anything. So then, yeah, I can't call it a top tale. It's far from a top tale. I can't recommend it, really. But I can't say it's really bad, because it's not. It's not bad. It's okay. But it's just okay. Next on my journey through Larry Niven's work is the original version of one of his novels called World of Tavs, I think. Ptavvs. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, leave a comment, please. I don't know how you would pronounce that. I'm calling it Tavs until somebody tells me different. He expanded this story into a novel, and I'll be getting to the novel later. But I want to be a true completist. I want to read the short version too, and I want to read that first because that was published first. So, in March of 1965, he published World of Tavs, the short version, and I will be getting that. You can only get it in the original magazine where it was published. It has never been collected because he right away expanded it into a novel. It was only a year later that he published the novel-length version of it. So he's never put it in any of his collections. So the only way to get it is to get a hold of a copy of the original magazine, which I did, and I'm waiting for that to be mailed to me. That will be my next Larry Niven. And I will see you in the next video.